Hi everybody, good morning. Welcome to Module 3 and Week 3. I decided to wait to record until I got to my office so I had a camera that was functioning so I can welcome you with a face this time around. So this week we're going to be talking about motivation. And for a lot of managers, leaders, team members, we try to get people to do what we want them to do. So how do we create an environment where people are willing to exert effort towards our goals or the organization's goals? Unfortunately, it's not just like a switch that you can flip and say, okay, now we're motivated. So we'll look at two different approaches to motivation. One is through the reward system, and so trying to understand the theories about how do people make choices about whether or not to exert effort and toward which goals. The other approach is trying to create a job or a work environment that is inherently motivating. So that's possible with people who have a need for growth. Not everybody can be motivated, but these approaches provide you some different options or ideas for creating a motivating workplace through either the reward system or the job itself. So take a look at those two chapters. The journal this time around has to do with courage. So we've got a couple articles, a couple videos about being courageous. And then again, we have a discussion board, a written assignment, and a journal entry again. So I wanted to say I got through just the first week's assignments in terms of grading, and so you didn't have a lot of time to review that feedback as you were completing assignments for Module 2. So if there's anything that you want to go back and revise based on my feedback from Module 1 or Module 2, I'm happy to have you do that so that you have some time to take a look at the feedback and kind of how I am looking at grading the different assignments. So that's just for Module 1 and 2. Okay, so our discussion here has you making some decisions about giving out a bonus to a team. So think about, what is the behavior you're trying to motivate? What do the chapters and the readings tell you about issues with motivation, best ideas, different ideas? So the detail here is you've got $12,000 to allocate across team members. So it's at the end of chapter 5, the details about the case. So tell us what you would do and why, and importantly, use some specific theories or models from the chapters to explain and support your choices. So post your initial response and then reply to at least 2 other people. It'll be interesting to see how people do that assignment differently. So the written assignment is from the chapter that looks at how do we create a job that's motivating. So what I'd like you to do is take a look at a job that you have or have had, and you can do student if you haven't had a lot of work experience, or you can do the team if you are an athlete. So look at the job in terms of the core job characteristics. Do you use a variety of skills? Do you complete an entire task or service? That's task identity. Do you feel that what you do is important to others, your other coworkers, the customers? Do you have autonomy? Do you have the ability to make some of your own decisions about how you do your work? And finally, do you get feedback from doing the job itself? So those core job characteristics are theorized to lead to feeling your work is meaningful, knowing you're responsible for the outcomes, and knowing the results, which should lead to motivation, satisfaction, and effectiveness. Okay. Number 2 is explain the ways that your current organization or recent organization tries to motivate you, and how effective is that? And then finally, what are some recommendations for you to increase your motivation? So one thing that we know is that not everybody is motivated by the same reward opportunities. Not everybody wants the same thing out of a job or out of a reward. So tell us for you, what could the organization do? And then finally, the journal for this week is all about acting and speaking with courage. And so I think I showed you earlier, Bill George has a great book about this. So tell us about the time when you had the courage to act in a situation when you did not feel you had the courage to act. And again, this does not have to be a huge, also for number 3. One way you will exercise your courage muscle in the future. So this doesn't have to be courage like you're a doctor and saving lives, or you're in the military and you're going into armed combat, because most of you will not do those things. But it can take courage to do a lot of regular things in life. So to give a public speech, to try a new hobby, to try a new sport or game, to change jobs, to move, to ask somebody out on a date, or propose some new idea at work. So it doesn't have to be a huge courage moment. Okay, but for you, what is it that you're going to work on that takes some courage? And how can you encourage others to be courageous? So that's this week. I'll look forward to reading your responses from the second module, and let me know if you have any questions.